we've seen some interesting pieces leading up to this. So we saw Doug Ford say that Mark Carney and his chief of staff saw the ad. And then, Mark Carney's office and the PMO put out a comment that said, we were not involved in the production and distribution of the ad, which, well, of course they weren't. It was a Government of Ontario ad. But it did admit the fact of, that they likely did see these ads, the Prime Minister and the chief of staff. Then after that, we saw Mark Carney say that negotiations with the U.S. were going well up until this ad hit the airwaves. Ambassador Hillman backed him up on that and said they were, shaping the contours of an agreement. Then the White House said, the negotiations were starting to sour before that. So there's a lot of back and forth here, and it's hard to know who to believe at times in this purposely broken game of telephone. But whatever the approach is for our interactions and negotiations with the states going forward, it can't be this. There can only be one team at the negotiating table, and that's the Prime Minister's jurisdiction and his cabinet. But I think you can see why provinces like Ontario and BC, with their large economies that are very impacted by this trade war, why they want to get their message out there with their ad campaigns.